hiring your first SE at a startup can either supercharge your go-to-market motion or really mess everything up for you, which will make many CROs swear off hiring new SEs. That's probably because they made a mistake. So let's talk about the mistakes that CROs do while hiring their first SE, specifically at a startup. Many SEs have come to me with an issue where they were hired at a startup and they're just completely the wrong fit, which frustrates the CEO and the CRO. It also frustrates the SE because nobody wants to be bad at their job. It frustrates the CRO because they were promised this unicorn that can help their sales team close deals left, right, and center, but it's not happening. And the CEO is pissed at the CRO for hiring basically a waste, which I don't like to say about people. So I wanted to highlight the 5 mistakes I see CROs do while hiring startup SEs. So a lead first SE to a company. And hopefully that will help guide the company when they're, and my phone is listening to me. What else is new? Hopefully that will help guide the company so that they can hire the right
It's understandable to be concerned about your phone listening to your conversations.
See?
While the extent to which companies actively listen is...
And stay tuned till the end, because I'm going to provide some suggestions of what you can do to hire the right SE, because I know some CROs and some CEOs, if not most, don't have SE, solution engineering experience. They might come from product, they might come from sales. Some of them have SE experience, but the majority don't. So I'm going to provide some options for you guys at the end of the video. Let's jump into the mistakes, starting with hiring rookies. Sales engineering is hard. It's requires a specific set of skills that get honed over time. I believe that many SEs or many engineers can become great SEs at some point, given the right circumstances. And a startup is almost always never the right circumstances, because you're not looking to teach someone how to do something at a startup. You're looking for someone to come in and just be productive from day one, or as close to day one as possible. So hiring rookies who've never been SEs before, they've never done discovery, they've never done a demo. And I've worked with SEs who come to me frustrated because they're not being invited to the right calls because the CRO or the salesperson doesn't know when they should be invited. They don't do a proper demo because they were taught by the CEO how to do a demo, but the CEO is a product person who doesn't know how to demo. If you're going to hire someone to be an SE, hire someone who's smarter than you in that world, who knows what they're doing and can actually come in and put their spin to it. But a lot of CEOs and CROs want control, so they hire someone new so they can teach them the way they want things done, which isn't always the best way to do it. On the flip side, what I see happens is that because they don't want to hire someone with little to no experience, they end up hiring an experienced SE leader, someone who is tired of doing the individual contributor crap, in between air quotes, and all he cares about or she cares about is growing the team. But it doesn't always work out like that, because sometimes business doesn't grow as fast as we want, or something happens. So the individual leader, we will call him that from now on, is stuck doing individual contributor stuff and less doing leadership stuff. And then they're not happy, they're disgruntled. They're focused too much on building the processes, not on actually doing the customer meetings, not selling. So that ends up backfiring as well. Sales engineers are not sales assistants. We never want to be. So what ends up happening, if you're hiring a sales assistant, that means you're hiring someone with low experience or no SE skills and they've never done it. Or that's the expectation that you want. If you're hiring an SE and expecting them to be a sales assistant, it's not going to work out for you. If you're hiring someone who's not been an SE, expecting them to be an SE, but saying your title is SE, but expecting them to do sales assistant work, they're just going to do sales assistant work and they're not going to add value to your sales process. They're going to be able to demo the product by doing the harbor tour. They're going to answer some technical questions, but they're not going to be true partners to salespeople. And that's whenever you want to hire an SE, you want to hire a partner to a salesperson, someone to hold the salesperson accountable as much as the salesperson is holding the SE accountable. Someone who takes ownership of opportunities and customers, not just someone who waits and does what they're told to do, because there's no ownership there. Now, beyond the hiring SE, once they're hired, most companies don't offer any training, or enablement, whether it's technical or sales oriented. And that's especially true with startups. You're expecting the founding SE to build the training, but how can someone build a training if they don't know the solution? It will just take more time. And when the founder, whether it's a product founder or if there's a co-founder that's a product oriented person, then it would behoove them to build training as they're building the product. It will be useful for the salesperson. It will be useful to SEs, to support, to everybody within the company. Most people don't have time to do that. I understand that. But when you hire an SE, if it's a complex product, if it's a simple product, don't worry about this. Skip this section, go to the next one. But if it's a complex product that requires a lot of knowledge, you're going to need some form of training for your SEs. When you work at a startup, you have to wear multiple hats. And the good thing about solution engineers, or good solution engineers, is that, generally speaking, they're good at a lot of different things. What they love to do is being solution engineers. But they know how to write content, they know how to do webinars, they know how to market in many cases. Again, we're talking about the great SEs. When you have even like good SEs, they know how to do a lot of these things. It's just the quality might be a little bit less. So when you join a startup and you have to wear multiple hats, you end up doing all of that stuff. The problem arises when they're being asked to do all that stuff more than being SEs. So if you do have to do webinars all the time and you're not out there meeting customers and doing discovery calls and demos and helping customers buy, that creates a problem for SEs. You just hired a marketing person instead of hiring an SE. So to reiterate, asking an SE to do all the go-to-market functions in addition to being an SE in moderation is okay, but when they have to do all the work, that becomes a problem. And this is my messy kitchen. Just ignore that. Yeah. Let's move to this side. Oh, wait, there's a bit messy there. No, it's good. Right. A lot of CROs, startups, they hire many salespeople before they decide, you know what, I need to hire my first SE, which that is a problem in itself. But then you ask the SE that you hired to support the 10 AEs or whatever the number is, as long as it's a large number, you're asking them to jump on every call, even if it's unqualified. And generally speaking, it's not every call, it's only demo calls, except that is the first call the AE is having with the customer. So basically, an SE is jumping on every call, which turned out to be a demo, which is unqualified, and the SE doesn't know what to demo and who they're talking to. And I just did a video last week, which I'm going to link somewhere up here, about being invited to meetings without an agenda. That happens all the time when you're working with a large number of AEs who are trying to get a lot of business, a lot of maybe small to medium business, even large business. Meetings are sent without agendas, which confuses the hell out of the SE, and now the SE has to do extra work in terms of figuring out what we're doing. Like, hey, I need to now jump on Salesforce, if we're using Salesforce. Have we worked with that customer before? What did they buy, etc. So have a better SE to AE ratio. And if you are going to hire a big number of AEs before you hire the SE, give the SE, especially the good one, right? You're hiring the right one. Give them the power to say no, or say, hey, you better qualify this better. Or instead of me jumping on a call and doing a harbor tour video, here's a recording of a harbor tour video. Having an SE report straight into the CRO or CEO. That's, generally speaking, a recipe for disaster for reasons I stated already. CROs and CEOs are not SEs. They've never been SEs, or they might have never been SEs. Even if they were SEs, it's so far removed from what they are doing now that things have changed. So they wouldn't know how to coach the SE. I've seen SEs come to me and say, hey, this is the demo my CEO wants me to do. And it's a harbor tour. And if you don't know what a harbor tour is, it's basically taking them on a generic tour of the product without actually solving a problem. And basically that's show and tell, or show, not necessarily tell, showing the product without actual end result or goal in mind. So I've seen that. I've seen CROs, I've talked to CROs where they're oblivious to the fact that their SEs are not doing what SEs should be doing. They had multiple SEs reporting into them, no clue that they were not doing their job properly. They're just hearing salespeople complain, and their response is, well, salespeople complain. They do, but also sometimes they complain rightly. So if you're gonna have an SE, have an experienced SE, and if they're gonna, at some point they're gonna report to the CRO. But if you have multiple SEs, have an SE leader that they report into, that can coach them, that can train them, that can tell them they're doing wrong, hold them accountable, and can partner with his AE director or sales director counterpart to help build the funnel, help sell more. Here's a doozy: not hiring SEs at all. That's a big mistake, because what ends up happening is, all right, I'm not hiring an SE, I have this AE or this product manager who knows the product inside out. I'm just gonna invite that person onto the calls. So what you're doing is you're taking someone who's great at one thing, building a product, and saying, go become an SE part-time and help the sales team sell. So you're removing them from something they're great at and putting them something that they probably most likely suck at. Yeah, I'll leave it there. If you're gonna hire, don't hire yourself as a CEO, CRO. You don't know what you want. You don't know. You've never hired an SE before. Maybe you have, but things have changed, and maybe you hired a bad SE in the past. You don't know how to find the right SE. You might find a salesperson who's worked with an SE in the past, and they might recommend them. Okay, that's something that's doable. But outsource. Outsource to another company. Like John Hodgson is a great recruiter for pre-sales. He knows exactly what to look for, and he talks to people like me. And if you don't want to hire a full-time SE, by the way, you can talk to us. We do fractional SE work. So if you're going to hire an SE, get an expert to hire the SE for you. Doesn't mean that you don't interview them and see if you click and see if you like them, see if you like their work ethic, but you cannot judge their skill level on your own. You need someone else who knows what they're doing. So yeah, that is the video for today. If you like this, you like more content like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I have to say this once in a while. Don't say this on all my video. If you're curious what a great SE looks like, check out that video right in this corner. And if you need help, reach out to me. That's what we do at We the Sales Engineers, in case you're wondering who you're talking to, or who's talking to you. Who's talking at you? No, hopefully I'm talking to you. Get back to work. Peace.